Hi, Jaime.
Hello, welcome. Great to see your wonderful faces.
Yay. Amazing.
Shall we share screen?
Yeah. Kuya Jaime, I don't think I can hear you just yet. Okay. Amazing. And Kuya Jaime, is Mark joining us or? No, we cannot hear you. That's all good. That's all good.
And hello to everyone else who's tuned in.
Yes.
We will be
Hello.
starting in a bit.
Yes.
Thanks for coming along.
Yay. Oh my goodness. Hi, everyone.
Great to see you all coming in. Loving the anticipation on the chat. We can see Catalea,
Yeah.
Erin, Isaiah, Linva, Abby. We see you, we hear you. Will. Awesome stuff, everyone.
Yeah. Alrighty. I think we might. Should we get started?
Yes, we shall. Can you press D for drum roll?
Oh, okay. That's too good. I love that so much.
Welcome.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you, everyone, for showing up to this virtual event. This is a collaboration between the podcast Are You a Cake, and which is hosted by yours truly, and also Ebony May, and also the National Affiliation of Respectable and Responsible Associations Cooperative, or NARA, represented today by the organization's Ambassador for Culture and Arts, Josh. So, before we get into the fun stuff, there's a few housekeeping notes. Let me just join Kuya Jaime back in. So our housekeeping notes are that this session will be recorded and published as a podcast episode for Are You OK? And if you're watching on the live stream, only your chat messages will be captured, unless you are calling in during the interactive session, which we hope you do. And we are also live streaming this on Instagram at the moment and also on YouTube. And oh, Mark has joined us. Amazing. All right. So, hello, Mark.
How are you?
That's all good. No problem.
Hello. Hello, Boss
Hi
Idol.
everyone.
Okay.
You can hear
We're
me?
full house. We can hear
We
everyone.
can all hear each
You like
other.
that?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
Yan,
All
what's
right, I'm
up,
just.
everyone?
Hey,
Buongiorno.
Mark. We are just going through the housekeeping rules at the moment, Mark. So, um, as I was saying, that the live stream will be recorded and it's also live streamed on Instagram, I believe, and YouTube. And if you're speaking today, please be mindful of any background noise for the quality of the recording. And I think most importantly, this is a safe space for learning and connection. So any abusive language will not be tolerated on any platform. So anyone who is disrespectful of this will be asked to kindly leave. And we'll be doing games and activities throughout this session, so keep your devices handy and there will be QR codes to scan so you can join in as well. Those are all my housekeeping rules. Before we jump in, I'm just going to quickly pass the mic to Josh, who's going to tell us a little bit about the NARA Cooperative and also all of the exciting projects that you might want to get involved with. So take it away, Josh.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Can you press U for the curtain call?
Oh, I see.
And you
So
again.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, and you again. Okay.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thank you. Mabuhay. I'm Joshua Santos. I'm the convener grounding today's event in my roles seen in front of you and with organizational backing to legitimize all of our efforts today. I'm here because I care deeply about creating spaces where culture, identity, and well-being meet, especially for young people navigating multiple worlds at once. I'm from Australia, like many of us, but over the past few years, I've been reconnecting with my roots in the Philippines, visiting relatives, exploring heritage sites, and understanding the shoulders I stand on. And one thing became clear. Heritage is not static, it's a foundation, not a ceiling. A bit about me, I've represented the community across platforms from grassroots initiatives, bringing it to decision makers, as you can see me being pinned by the diplomatic mission into Australia, and also with my federal member, Jason Clare. But today isn't about me, it's about amplifying your voices and creating an inclusive space where culture, creativity, and well-being connect for everyone. So if we go to the next slide. A bit about NARA. We are a community-based organization that has existed since 2013, uniting the Filipino-Australian diaspora through events, exhibitions, heritage preservation, and creative expression. We actually have a physical site called ACI Central, where we gather communities for arts, culture, and community engagement. And we are currently piloting a new initiative called PASI, which is the Philippine Australian Arts, Culture, and Innovation Performing Arts Centre. We really want this project to focus on intergenerational partnerships and collaborations between the young and old, as we shape, culture and how it evolves in the modern day. It will also be a 500-seat theatre where we can engage in multicultural exchange and having that global focus of that balance between commercial value and societal impact. And just want to share our tagline, which is where heritage meets innovation and every generation leaves a mark. So that's a bit about us. If we go to the next slide, we'll also share some new initiatives that we're launching. So first, and feel free to scan the QR codes if you would like to be involved, is the Parsi Next Gen Circle. It's a brave, inclusive space for youth to explore identity, creativity, and belonging. We're also trialing out our Parsi Arts and Cultural Fellowship, which our wonderful May is currently on, and that is to nurture leadership and cross-cultural artistic practice between Australia and the Philippines. And our third initiative is the Parsi Foundation Circle, where we're supporting the long-term future of Filipino arts and culture in Australia with institutional backing. These programs exist because culture is lived, shared, and co-created. If we don't innovate while respecting the past, we risk being left behind. So today's event with Are You OK is a perfect example of something that is youth-led and intergenerationally supported, centered on community care, values like bayanihan and cross-cultural connection. It's built to be human-centered, solutions-oriented, and authentic. And I'm grateful to our hosts, the lovely ladies, May and Ebony, for leading this conversation, and to our panelists, who are leaders in their own right, from Adriana, Chris, Mark, Jaime, and Toyo, for sharing their voices. Thank you for being here. Can you press C for confetti? And now I'll hand it back to our incredible hosts.
Thank you so much, Josh, for that. And yes, if you'd like to be involved, let Josh or I know, or follow all of the links. They'll come up later as well. We are going to jump into the actual podcast recording session now, and we're going to play you our introduction. Let's play this. Hang on. And then
How are you doing?
I love you.
How are you?
Hello.
Let's go!
All right, we are jumping straight into our recording session. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Are You OK? I'm May.
And I'm Ebony. This is a show about sharing honest conversations, sometimes messy, sometimes insightful, but always authentic.
We're serving up a slice of chaos and comfort as we navigate our life in our 20s.
Whether you're listening on the commute, doing laundry, or just avoiding your responsibilities, we are so glad that you're here. Take it away, May.
Sorry for my botched Tagalog. Mabuhay Philippines! Andito ako ngayon in the Philippines para matutunan ang culture, to see the beautiful tanawins at matikmang ang iba't ibang cuisines. I am so grateful na makapunta rito at makapag-record for this podcast, which means hello from the Philippines. I am here right now to learn about the culture, see the beautiful sceneries, and try all of the variety of cuisines. And I am so grateful to be able to come here and record for the podcast. All right, where are you checking in from, Ebony?
Hello everyone, I am checking in from the lands of the Ngunnawal people, and I'm honoured to pay my respects to the true custodians of Australia and to practice the important art of storytelling through this podcast. So I'm checking in from Canberra, Australia.
Amazing. So we're 2 worlds apart today. And today we're continuing our theme of Family by Choice, which is a series of very special episodes. And today we have something very, very special. We have a live podcast show called Building Healthy Cross-Cultural Friendships. So over the next 90 minutes or so, we'll be hearing from the incredible panel of multicultural youth voices and youth leaders, opening up storytelling circles and doing some creative activities together, all grounded in the spirit of what we call in Tagalog bayanihan, or community care. And this event centers Filipino-Australian perspectives while welcoming participants from all backgrounds. So let's hope to create a space for vulnerability, expression, and cross-cultural connection.
Right, before we meet our lovely panelists, we actually want to hear from you guys, so the audience watching this live podcast recording. So what I'm going to get you to do is, if you can see on the slide a QR code, or follow the URL on the screen, and we're going to answer some quick questions. Firstly, it's going to be, where are you in the world right now? How are you feeling today? And there will also be a pre-panel survey. So it's just an interactive element to get you guys really involved with this event, and we can't wait to have a look at your answers. If you're watching the live stream, drop your answers in the chat, like if you're watching on YouTube, or you can also follow the interactive poll on the screen, and we'll be reading some of the responses out. Yeah.
Yes. I'll give you guys a moment to do this. I'm so excited to see where you guys are checking in from today. As you saw, Ebony and I are already 2 worlds apart, and a lot of our guests also today are from different places around, exactly, Bali, Indonesia. So cool. We're all from different parts of the world today. So this is really, really amazing that we get to connect. Awesome. I know we've got a few Australians here. And who else do we have? Oh, I love that. Represent Sydney. Got some Melbournians. Who do we have here? Yeah, Melbourne represent. Love that. Camera. So it looks like we have a lot of Australians today. Love that. Alrighty. And our next question today is, how are you feeling today? Happy. Good to hear, very good to hear. Excited and tired, yep. I feel that. I think I'm on the same page. But I'm very, very excited at the same time, so I'm feeling all of your emotions. Amazing. I'll give it 1 more minute. Sleepy and tired.
I feel like we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you guys are excited for this event. It's amazing to connect with you all.
I'm also very excited for what we're going to learn today. It's going to be so good. Alrighty. Alright, and just before we get started, as I said, as Ebony said, we're just going to do a quick survey to see where your heads are at the moment with our theme for today, building healthy cross-cultural friendships. Can you take a moment now just to fill out this little graph of how confident you feel building friendships across cultures right now? Amazing. Okay, very interesting. So we're like somewhere in the middle to the top end. Awesome. My next question for you guys is, I feel connected to diaspora communities. Diaspora being the term for anyone that is outside of their home country or culture, living outside of them. Very interesting. Okay, so middle to the lower end. My next question for you is, just let it load. I feel comfortable discussing mental health in multicultural spaces. This is a massive one. You can be as honest as you want with this one. Amazing. Alrighty, and now for our next one. I currently have strong cross-cultural support networks. Networks being friends, family members, community, anything like that. Amazing. Also in the middle. Great. I think I have one last question. I'm actively looking for culturally relevant community spaces. Amazing, guys. Alrighty. Oh, let me jump back in. Alrighty, thank you so much for filling those out. Before we dive into our next session, which I'm super excited about, I'm just going to set some shared language. So as we're talking about building healthy cross-cultural friendships, I thought I might just define what cultural background even means. And so as someone who is Japanese Filipino growing up in Australia, I believe that there is so much fluidity in what cultural background even means. And so for today's conversation, your cultural background is honestly whatever you make it, whatever culture that you grew up in or you resonate with, that can be your cultural background, and that's how we're going to define it for today. And building cross-cultural friendships, it is such an important thing, and I think you will find out in this discussion today, but we are bridging through friendships different cultural experiences through language, through worldviews and perspectives, and it really makes us feel seen and also feel like we are broadening our perspectives. And I am so excited to talk more about this from lived experiences and your story sharing from the guests and the audience. And also the questions that are going to be asked today, we're going to also throw it back to the audience as well. So just keep in mind the questions that I will be asking the guests today. And I will, without further ado, you get to meet the panelists. So we're going to start with Adriana. Adriana was born and raised in Bali, Indonesia. She has lived experience in mental health since being diagnosed with depression 4 years ago. She's incredibly passionate about talking about mental health and well-being and wants to learn, especially when it comes to people her age in different cultures. All right. Oh, I think we'll skip. Okay. So, Toya is a Filipino-Australian student, youth sector worker, and activist. They are deeply passionate about social change and are building a better world through both through construction and disruption. They are a climate activist in their university, former national scholar undertaking a year of study in Manila, and they work at an intersectionality non-for-profit, Intertwine. Next we have on the list. All right, Mark. Mark is a proud Filipino born and raised in the Philippines and works with Bantu, where he is passionate about working with young people and sharing capoeira. He also loves traveling around and connecting with different communities through culture and movement. And we have Kuya Jaime. Jaime Benedicto is an educator, mestre from Capoeira Angola, and social impact creator working to empower some of Manila's most vulnerable children and young people, advocating for personal transformation through play, art, dance, and sport. Welcome everyone to this conversation today. I'm so excited to have you guys on board. Yay! Amazing. All right, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now and we will spotlight all of our guests today. All right, let's jump straight into our questioning time. I'm so excited to pick your brains today. So my first question for you guys, the panel, is who taught you how to be a friend? How did your family culture or upbringing shape the way that you do friendships? And I wanted to start with Adriana, if that's okay with you. I know that you mentioned you grew up in Indonesia, and I'm sure you have so much to speak about your culture, but how do you think your culture shaped the way that you show up for your friends?
Hello, everyone. I'm Adriana. That's a really meaningful question for me. If I reflect on my childhood, my upbringing wasn't always easy. When I was very young, my parents had to leave very early to go to work and then to support our family, and I had to stay at home alone until my older siblings came back from school. And also when everyone was at home, they were often busy with their own responsibilities. So I didn't really grow up learning how to connect with people or build friendship. And then when I start school, I also experienced bullying because my classmates saw me as the poorest student there, and it was a painful experience. But looking back now, those experiences actually shaped the way I approach friendship today. They made me feel very aware of how powerful kindness and empathy can be because I know what it feels like to be left out. And I try my best to make people feel included, feel heard, and feel supported in any way possible. And there's also culturally, I grew up in a place where people don't always openly talk about their feelings or struggles. Because of that, I learned how important it is to create safe space where people feel comfortable being themselves. And then also now I'm still learning, of course. Sometimes I still make mistakes or say things that might hurt other people's unintentionally, but I always try to reflect and remind myself of the kind person I want to be. So in many ways, my own experience growing up taught me what kind of friend I want to become, someone who listens, who show empathy, and who tries to be there for others when they need it. Thank you.
Oh, Adriana, that was so special. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable as well. And yeah, I can see how your story and your background has shaped the beautiful person that you are today. I just want to toss the question now to Kuya Jaime and Mark, actually, because you guys have a lot of background with Filipino culture, and something that I have noticed being Filipino and also living in Manila at the moment. Filipinos are known for being hospitable and warm with very deep community ties. But how do you think that shaped your understanding of friendship? And is there anything else about the culture that also shaped the way that you do friendships?
Thanks, first of all, for having me and Mark here. We're so happy to be invited to these events and these sorts of spaces to be with you all. I think that's a great question, actually. And I think I know May, for example, you have an interest in psychology and are studying it as well. And, there is, in Filipino psychology, there are a lot of concepts which I think Mark can speak about. And one of them that I think is very unique from other cultural psychological ideas or philosophical ideas, you could say, would be the idea of kapwa, right? Kapwa and loob, right? These are, it's very hard to translate. These are words that in my understanding do not have counterparts in other languages. But kapwa, I guess you could say, it's your ability to. I guess a close relative in English would be empathy, but it's like your ability to see, or your capacity to see yourself and your connectedness to another person, right? And I think, like, for myself, but more evidently, like working in communities, you can really, it really, like, drives that point home, right? Like, there's almost no distinction sometimes between who your family members are, and who your friends are, and whose house belongs to whom. Everyone is just in everyone's house. Everyone is always just eating together. And I think that makes, it's really deep. I think for us here in the Philippines, everybody's problems becomes everybody's problems, and there are obviously good sides and bad sides to that. And I think maybe Mark can talk a bit more about that. I think um, it's also different, obviously, across class here in the Philippines. In more upper socioeconomic status, let's say households, it tends to reflect more like you would have it in more developed countries, right? Like, people are more isolated, insular. Kids are at home. You go out to play, certainly, but, like, you don't. It's less common to just walk out and knock on your neighbor's house and say, "Hey, let's go play basketball," or something like that. Whereas in poor communities, like where we work, um, it really is that's really how things go. You go out, you see who's out there. You go to someone's house, you see if they're home. You drag them out of whatever they're doing and into, so it's very vibrant, I would say. And for those of you who have, like yourselves, who have visited the community, I think it's not very hard to see that. Anyway, Mark, why don't you go?
Okay, my turn. So, okay, like Hani said, thank you so much for having us here. And I'm really overwhelmed about this podcast because I feel gonna add a little bit what Jaime told to everyone. And I learned, what is the question again? Who taught me how to be a, what are they? Can you repeat me the question?
Yes, of course, of course. The question is, how did your culture shape the way that you show up as a friend?
So in our community, it's really important to have a code.
Mark, I think we have a bit of difficulty hearing you. Oh, I think it's the wonderful internet connection of the Philippines. It's okay. We are very aware of this, so we will join back with Mark when he when the internet allows him to. Let's just jump to. Oh, Mark is back possibly.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so sorry, we just had a bad internet here.
No problem at all.
So, like I said, okay, back to the topic. Um, you know, in our community, it's really important to have a pakikisama in your heart,
Mm.
because um, here, even if you don't have money, you can have friends in the community, like, uh, you can play together, and you can, yeah, like Jaime said, you can eat in their other house, your friend's house. You can sleep there, and you can call their mother also your mother. So, and also capoeira taught me, you know, what being friendship is, because first, the capoeira is a different culture, and you know, di- different people also from different countries. Okay, I'll stop there.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mark. I'm going to toss the question now to Toyo. So Toyo has a very multicultural experience. As we mentioned, they have experience living in the Philippines, but also grew up in Australia. So very similar to my cultural context. But yeah, I want to pick your brain about how that multicultural background really shaped the way that you navigate friendships.
Thank you so much for the question. Also, following on from Ebony, just want to acknowledge that I'm tuning in today from the unceded lands of the Wurrung Wurundjeri people in what is now known as Eastern Melbourne, or Naarm. I think mixed cultural backgrounds and mixed cultural experiences do play and a interesting role in kind of the cultural context behind someone's ability to form friendships or someone's familiarity with forming friendships. I spent a lot of time with family. My family is very, very close. My mum is a very, very energetic and communally minded Filipino woman, and that was very, very influential to both me and my sister. But I think that only really was something that I truly understood once I was living in the Philippines. There was a bit of me that was like, oh, this makes sense now. Like the things that I was taught, whether that is, you know, the exactly as has been mentioned, the kind of fluid definition of family, the close knit support systems that when I was, I remember very, very distinctly, like when I fell quite sick in Manila after having a very, very bad cold, I was having all of these care packages sent to my uni dorm that were filled with so much food that I could not realistically finish. And that kind of support network was something that I had been lacking in my time in Australia. And don't get me wrong, I very much appreciate the way that Australia approaches friendships as well. I've got incredibly close and beautiful friendships that have been formed across cultures and have been formed with a kind of broader Australian cultural context. But I think it can be such a beautiful experience, even when you've got no cultural background in that specific place or specific community, to be able to bring yourself to understand how friendship and how family and the kind of fluid lines between those concepts plays. And that was such an important part of my kind of experience in the Philippines.
Amazing. I resonate with everything that you said. As I mentioned, I'm living in Manila as well as an Australian, so I mean, took the words straight out of my mouth, honestly, Toyo. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question. So, my next question is, it kind of flows on from the first one, and it's all about kind of the nitty gritty of actually trying to build cross cultural friendships. So, what actually does it take to build, maintain, and repair friendships across cultural differences? I'm going to open the floor to anyone that wants to speak up first. Anyone feel confident?
Okay, ako na lang.
Go for it.
Uh,
Wow. All right, go for it.
Go, Mark.
okay. So, building across different culture, um, most of the capoeira taught me about building, different culture from other people, and other people also from other countries, And, because like I said earlier, capoeira is a different culture, different language, and a lot of people like doing capoeira is from a different country also, like Japan, Korea, Indonesia, so different language. And through movements and music and being kind to people is how we show being friendly, you know. Because I'll tell you a little bit of story. When I first go to Australia, I don't know how to speak English, you know, and I just doing like nodding and like smiling and then thumbs up, but I still make friends there, and and being like, for example, being from Filipino culture is really like uh, what is nakakapanibago.
It's like you're not used to something, like you have to adjust to something.
Yeah, thank you so much, my mentor. So you said in the Philippines you can't say hi to everyone, you know, because if you say hi to everyone, sometimes like if you're not in the same position, same like same class, no, let's say that if you're not in the same class, they will say who is this guy, like why is he talking to me? But in other country or other culture, like for example in Australia, I always say hi to everyone, you know, and then they will respond me like, oh hello, like and it's really like uh, make me happy and make me more uh, make it's such a having me a butterfly in my heart, because we don't feel that in the Philippines, you know, even if you're from poor community, even if you're from the slum area, they don't look at your status, you know, they just see you as a person and as a equal. So that's for me, capoeira helped me to build that, and yeah, I'll stop there so they can answer.
Yeah, maybe I'll just jump in since Mark started. We've been using this expression that I read recently in our activities with our kids, that I'll always believe what you do more than what you say, and I think that's kind of what Mark was trying to express as well, which is very true for capoeira because it uses a lot of body movement. But in general, I think that's it, right? Like, um, sure, we can all hear the words that people are saying, but what they do speaks much more to how they actually feel and what they believe and where you are in their estimation. And I think Filipinos are very good at expressing through action, even when it's like with foreigners, as Mark was talking about when he went to Australia for the first time, what we mean, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying this is definitely something that's all good. I think there's a strong case to be made that there could be a negative side as well. But like, everyone talks about how hospitable we are, and we are. But I would argue that you cannot be hospitable indefinitely, kind of like this infinite range of being hospitable, even when it's costing you something, especially for people from low income communities, right? Um, and yeah, I think I think it's a Southeast Asian trait. I think it's been studied that we are very passive people. We, unlike in Australia, maybe where someone will tell you, uh, what they actually think. Filipinos will not generally do that. It's a lot of trying to make the other person happy, right? But I suppose it should also be balanced with yourself and your own wellness, right? And I think that's why it's quite easy for Filipinos, regardless of their where they are in society, like to make friends with foreigners, with people from different cultural backgrounds. Again, like Mark through capoeira, just in Australia has made friends with people from so many different nationalities, from South America to the U.S. to Australia to, you know, um, and I think also because Filipinos can also be very outgoing, as Mark was saying, he was saying hi to everybody. Like the car would pull up, there'd be someone on the sidewalk, roll down the window, say hello to them, which is very different from here. I think Southeast Asian culture is really not that, for better or for worse. But yeah, I think we are very warm here in the Philippines, right? Like maybe it's how the heat, the weather, right? And it gets into us, and like we just have to share that with other people, but we are, and I think that because we're so able to express that even non-verbally to other people, regardless of what their culture is, they feel that, and it's therefore very easy for us to make a connection.
Oh my gosh, so many amazing insights to take from your stories. What I really loved is that language is not something that creates a barrier for you. You're finding different ways through art forms, through sports, through capoeira especially, and also being authentically yourself, being curious and showing up through the love languages that you know how to express connection. That has been most important in finding cross-cultural friendships, and that is such an amazing insight, because I think a lot of people find language to be the barrier and find that to be the thing that kind of scares them away from making friends. But as you said, there are so many different ways. You don't have to learn or know the same language to be able to speak to them, and yeah, that is so important. So thank you so much, Mark and Jaime. Let's jump to either Toyo or Adriana. Who would like to speak? Yeah, Toyo, go for it.
I think kind of building on what Kuya Mark and Kuya Jaime both flagged there as well, like, and also exactly what you said, May, because I'm going to maybe politely disagree in one area, which is that I completely agree and like definitely think that actions are the thing that speaks louder than words. But I think especially for people coming from the West who are traveling, and especially those who are staying longer in countries like Indonesia and countries like the Philippines, whilst language is not a barrier to friendship, not trying, I think, sometimes can be. I think if people go there and expect that, oh, I'm not going to try and learn language, I'm just going to see whether English will do, it will. People are, of course, especially like in the Philippines, they're so friendly, and there is a really high English proficiency. But I am just like so aware that when I start, like, I'll do a bit of Tagalog and then go back to English. Pero nagsimula ako ng mag-learn process para sa Tagalog ko, at mas mabuting para sa maraming mga kaibigan, kasi pwedeng like, because of that like connection of Tagalog, we could build something stronger. And essentially that's what I'm kind of saying, is that like when I started to learn Tagalog, friendships that I had in the Philippines became so much deeper, even when I was terrible at it. Just by the virtue of, I think, trying, that really helps with building those kind of cross-cultural friendships. That I think applies not just in Asia, but also across the world. I think the action of trying and trying to communicate and trying to learn and being able to catch on to those kind of concepts that don't translate well when trying to bring it back to English, all of that, I think, really deepens those kind of cross-cultural friendships and makes them more than just being polite, but shows that you're willing to do the act of trying. And I think that has been very important for me, especially.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely, 100% on the point. I really love that. I mean, you already showed it. You are so good at really trying to integrate yourself into someone else's culture and your own culture. I mean, you are Filipino, and doing your best to be open and curious. I think those are values that are so important for cross-cultural friendships. That curiosity that makes you open to new suggestions of how to speak the new languages, the new cultures, the new foods, things like that. You come to a new culture with an idea of your own, and you have to be open to the fact that those people that you're trying to interact with will have their own idea of culture. And so it's an interactive space like we are trying to create today, where we get to interact cross-culturally, which means we will have differences. And the way to deepen those connections through those differences is to learn from each other. So thank you so much, Toyo. Adriana, would you like to try and answer the question?
I felt so relate with all of the answers because for me, building friendship across cultural differences has actually been a very meaningful experience. In my personal life, many of my friendship with people from different cultures have been quite positive. And I think one reason is that we approach those differences with curiosity rather than judgment. And then also through those friendship, I've realized that people may grow up with different values, communication styles, or perspective, but that doesn't mean that we cannot understand each other. In fact, those differences can help us learn and see the world from wider perspective. And also, personally, I've learned a lot from my friends who's come from different cultural backgrounds. They help me see things from angles that I'm sorry, that I haven't expected before. And then also, I think what really helped in building and maintaining those differences, friendship is mutual respect. It's about being willing to listen, to understand where the other person is coming from, and then to appreciate the differences and don't have to divide us. Uh, and also for me, respect, openness, and empathy is the key for those kind of friendship. And when people are willing to acknowledge and value those differences, friendship across cultures can actually becomes very enriching and meaningful. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, spitting words of wisdom. I love it, Adriana. Thank you so much for sharing. And the thing that I really took from what you said was the openness, empathy, and respect. Again, values that are so important, especially in cross cultural friendships, where you will find differences, as you said. And those differences, I think people might find it difficult to sit with because it makes us feel really, really uncomfortable when we are challenged for who we identify as and the values that we hold. But as you said, Adriana, they are the things that highlight who we are as well, and they help us to put a mirror to our face and show us our differences, also our similarities as well, and how we identify as a human being and how we show up to them as a friend as well. So amazing insights from everyone. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to jump into the last question that I have prepared for you guys, which is a bit of a storytelling, sharing session. Can you tell us a moment where a friendship across cultures made you feel truly seen or understood? And how did that make you feel? What did that do for you? Feel free to jump in when you're ready, when you have a story in mind.
Ano ba? Sinatay mo ba, boss?
Mark, go ahead.
You know me too well.
Okay, so okay, my turn. So uh, when I felt like I'm seen, again, like through capoeira. So because I spent my whole of like teenager doing capoeira, and being in the different countries, and before I did capoeira, I have a lot of traumas. Traumas on the police, traumas on the teacher in the community. But since I did capoeira, like uh, even we're from a low background, and we're from this background, we can be together to with the rich people, um, with the middle class people. So, before I did capoeira, my mindset was I live here, and I will die here. And you know, doing capoeira, teach me to show different countries, that there's different countries and there's a different world. You know, and you know, traveling a lot is helping me to overcome my traumas, and what I felt seen really is when I go to Bali, in my first time going to Bali, Indonesia, because I'm bringing this trauma all the way when I get older, like with the police in the Buko Coconut. Because okay, I will tell a little bit about Coconut story. Okay, so before I did capoeira, I have a lot of friends doing bad things. I'm the black sheep in my family, and we're stealing. I tried to use drugs and try to sell drugs, but and then there's a time we plan to steal coconut. There's a jeep full of coconuts, and we chased the jeep, and this was like 60 or 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. So it's really speed, and all of my friends was asked there to do that, and we're in the jeep, and then we don't see the outpost of the jeep, and then the police chase us, and then that, and then when the police chased us already, all of my friends was scattered, and then I was the only one left in the police, and I was really tall, like not really tall, like I'm the most tallest in the group, so they thought I was really old, so they pulled the gun, and then they pointed in my, like, what is this in here,
For forehead.
forehead. So, I was 14 years old that time, and having a gun in your head, and then you will hear the police saying, if there's no people here, I will shoot you. And then they dragged me to the outpost and then started to beat me. And then when I go, and then that's where I started not to drink coconut anymore. And because of, I was thinking, look, I'm gonna die because of the coconut, so you need to do something very uh, appropriate. Like capoeira taught me, if you want to die, so we're all gonna die. And if you need to die with a purpose in your life. Because if you're gonna die with a coconut, that's not good story to the people. And so you need to have a left with the good experience to the people, the way you want to remember you, even if you're gone. So when I go to Bali, all by myself. So imagine from slum community area going to country that no one can speak Tagalog. And I was by myself on that time, so it's really like struggle, and but the people around me was really like polite, really kind to help me, and then we were eating. There's a because in Bali, Adriana, you can confirm this. In Bali, there's a lot of coconut. We're in Ubud, in Green School, so it's really full of coconuts there. And then even when they eat, there's a coconut. So I was shocked that time, when I arrived, because there's a coconut in front of me, and all of the traumas was flashback and blah. So and then one of our friends in Bali told me, "Hey, what's wrong? Why are you not drinking your coconut?" So, and then I told my story there, and then they say, "Look, man, you're in a different country, and then the police here will not uh, hurt you. You know, We're, kami bahala sa'yo. Like that. So, what is kami bahala sa'yo, boss?
We'll take care of you,
Yeah. So they say
or we
they
we
will take.
got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so there, I started to drink coconut, and then there's a relief in my heart that hey, there's a people like helping me to overcome this trauma, and that's where I felt being seen, because even if they're not from the same situation, we're not from the same status, they still gonna treat you like an equal, and then these people will help you also to overcome your traumas, and you know and so that's really matters to me, and it's really because of Bantu. That's why I overcome a lot of uh, traumas, and I felt seen. In Australia also, like if there's a party, like but the bayanihan, you can feel that you're included, and not just like you're there. They will make you feel that, hey, you're part of this. Hey, come in, let's join, like that. So, you know, uh, I really like making friends to different countries, even if I don't speak their language. But somehow I manage to, to talk to them. So yeah, thank you for listening. And
Wow.
talagang makasi.
Thank you so much, Mark. Wow. I mean, your storytelling was incredibly inspiring, and it just started from one coconut. So you can never know where your life can take you, honestly. And I'm so glad that you were able to shape that story and turn it around into a positive light. And I can see how much that story impacts you today as well. So, yeah, can I toss the coin to either maybe Adriana or Kuya Jaime?
Maybe I'll just go because
Yeah.
Mark already went.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, yeah, I think like for those for people who grew up when I grew up. I won't say when, so I don't date myself. But the Philippines was not as multicultural, I would say, as it is today, right? Like um, there were pockets of parts of the city of Manila, for example, where you would have a lot of foreigners, but they were I'll just use the words. They were there for a particular reason. They were of a particular age group, and so we naturally didn't get in contact with a lot of people from different cultures, except through things like movies, like school. Sometimes, if you went to an international school or that sort of thing. Um, but so through as the years went by, you had more foreigners coming in and out for business and whatnot. And that's to echo sort of Mark, like that's where Capoeira came in. And I, it really did open my eyes, I suppose, to why it's important to really import different cultures into what would otherwise be this sort of static, homogenous entity, right? Because it really does broaden people's horizons, and I think Mark more than satisfactorily made evidence of that, right? And so, like for me at least, like in my experience, I suppose like just having recognition from, let's say, practitioners of that community, Afro Brazilians, right? And for those of you who know, we practice the more Africanized version of capoeira, so it's the more traditional kind. And just to have recognition from people in that community of the work that we're doing, of the value that of the legitimacy of the authenticity of the work, it's incredibly inspiring, I would say. Like there, to be fair, there aren't that many groups in this part of the world, but like when masters are referring people who are traveling to Southeast Asia, where should I go? And they'll say, oh, go talk to Jaime, he's in the Philippines. And to have these people coming in, it's amazing. Like there are more foreigners, I would say, or I would say foreigners or people from outside of Manila or the Philippines are more keen and more open to come to the slum and visit the project we're doing. Whereas the locals here are like, oh no, it's dangerous. I can't go there. So there's more apprehension, and it's also yeah. I would say that's been particularly edifying for me. And just to add, like one thing that's I find personally rewarding, though I guess you could make the argument that this might not be cross cultural, but also just being recognized by people from the community. I didn't grow up in a place like that. I didn't grow up with that background at all. One of the first times I took a jeepney was to go to San Andres Bukid where we work, and I got lost on the way. But so like when the kids recognized, oh yeah, like he's kind of like a part of this community now. He eats with us. He knows the music here. He knows the people here. He knows the culture here. Yeah, I find that very. It's a good feeling. What did Mark say? It's butterflies in your heart.
That's amazing. Yeah, I for the time that we have left, I'm just gonna give the panel the time to speak, and I'll reflect on your story as we go. Thank you so much for sharing, Jaime. Toyo or Adriana, would you like to go next? Adriana?
Thank you. Uh, I like this question because it's kind of growing up. I didn't often share my feelings with my family or even the friends because whenever I tried to open up about what I was going through, I was often judged or compared with other people's experience, and people would say things like, oh, what you're going through is nothing compared to what others have faced. And because of that, I slowly learned to keep things to myself, and I held everything inside, which eventually started affecting my daily life. And then, long story short, I work as a nanny for an amazing family, Filipino Australian family. And along the way, we built a really genuine connection. And for the first time, I feel safe enough to talk openly about my feelings and my struggles. And what was different was that she didn't judge me or dismiss what I was feeling. She listens with empathy and understanding. And then also that moment made me realize how powerful it is when someone truly sees you and accepts your experiences. And our background, cultures, and environments were very different. And that also helped me see things from a new perspective. When in my own environment growing up, emotional struggles were sometimes seen as a sign that someone wasn't really grateful enough or wasn't strong enough spiritually. But through that friendship, I learned that struggling emotionally is a human experience and that not a personal failure. That experience slowly helped me rebuild my confidence. And also, it helped me realize that I was enough and that my feelings were valid. And from that point on, I start working on myself and try to grow into a better and stronger version of who am I today. And I just wanted to give a small shout out to her. She's actually here today. Hi, Erin. Thank you for being such a big part of my journey, for mentoring me, and for becoming like a second mother to me. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Couldn't have said it better, and thank you so much for sharing, Adriana. I have also been very much uplifted by Erin, so I think hopefully we'll hear from her at one point, which would be so amazing. She's an amazing woman. Let me jump to Toyo. Do you have a story to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's sadly very hard to follow up. But I'll do. I think two very very quick stories. I remember definitely I felt extremely seen and extremely understood. After when I was back in Manila last December, and I caught up with the wonderful May and a friend of mine, Erica. And I think that there was something so special about, May and I had known each other before. We had both separately been in the Philippines. Erica, is someone I'd met in the Philippines, and then she did her exchange in Sydney and then traveled to Melbourne to see me. That there was something so special with the three of us having that kind of shared experiences of all of these different places and all these different cities, and being able to make references that all three of us understood. I just remember that being very like validating and calming, and like I was able to talk about things like that I remembered from the place that always had my heart, QC. And yeah, I think that was very, very cool. But I don't think that necessarily having the same kind of cultural experience is the thing that makes you necessarily have to feel the same. Like, two moments really come to mind for people that have no Filipino background, or I share very little cultural background with, who had just both taken the effort to learn even small phrases and small bits of Tagalog just to speak to me. They can speak to me perfectly well in English. These are people that like both grew up in this country, but like just because they wanted to be able to communicate with me in the like with all the kind of complexities and different expressions that I had, and picking up the fact that I say hi Nako every time I'm stressed, and kind of imitating that, and then that just that both of those people made me feel very, very sane. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I feel very seen by you as well. I think we navigate a very similar cultural background and identity, so I think there's so much that we can relate to each other that is really difficult to relate with others that don't know both cultural contexts. It's usually either one or the other, so yeah, for sure. Now, because of the lack of time, we are going to go into our next interactive session. Thank you so much. We're going to jump back to our conversation and reflect in a moment, but just to, jog up our system a little bit, I'm just going to share my screen again. And we are going to do something. Where are you at? Please, where I go? Sorry. Called the Friendship Mixtape. So if you feel called to do so, feel free to scan the QR code. We are going to create a friendship mixtape, which essentially means add any song that reminds you of a friend who feels like home, whether that be a cross-cultural friendship or not. And I think I added hopefully okay, you know what, I didn't add the next slide, I'm so sorry. But yeah, feel free to scan this QR code or put it in the chat. Write a story of a person or a friend or a family member or someone that made you feel like home. For an example, I will give you an example, and this is about my best friend, Ebony. My my example of a song is For Good from the musical Wicked. There's something so special about that song. It is a duet, so it fits perfectly with Ebony and I, and it just speaks to us so much. And the memories that I have shared with her singing that song go cross borders, actually. We started singing it back when I lived in Sydney, and then most recently we debuted in Coron, Palawan on a stranger's boat. We decided to do karaoke there and share our musical passions. It was a stranger's boat. We were eating balot. It was the most Pinoy experience ever. And yeah, we were just singing For Good, which is about friendships as well. And something just felt so, so special about that moment. So yeah, that will always be a friendship song for me. Feel free to add in the chat if you have any stories to share. And yeah, we will read it out as well as we go. We are in a bit of a time crunch as well, so I'm just going to move on to the next section, which is our reflection moment. So again, the QR code from before works, and you can add a little question or a reflection from what resonated with you about the panel, or there's another way to jump in the call, actually, and Ebony's going to let us know how to do that.
Hello everyone, that was amazing. I learned so much from the panel. I feel like very inspired and yeah, just like my mind is like really open right now. But we are going to now do a little thing where we're going to get you guys watching to call in if you want to ask any questions. So basically what you have to do is you just have to request the call in button at the bottom of your screen. You press that and then you'll be brought onto the live stream one by one to share your story, insights, or ask our panelists any questions. This is a safe space, so we'd love to hear from you. And if you're on the live stream on YouTube, keep popping stuff into the chat. Yeah. So yeah, let us know if you want to call in. Just press that button.
Amazing. And from Josh and Ebony, from Josh, maybe we'll start with you. Do you have any reflections and insights? We'll just let the audience come up with some questions or any reflections that you want to ask. And yeah, if you can't see the button, I believe the bottom, somewhere in the bottom, it should say request call in, and I will be able to see your little request call in button, and then I can jump in the chat. And feel free to write it as well on the QR code on the screen as well. But yeah, Josh, can I pop the mic to you? Do you have any reflections from our panel discussion today?
Yeah, 100%. I loved how it was just very authentic and human-centered, especially with, the storytelling, those moments of transformation, and how there's this consistent theme of like, the importance of going out of, your way to meet people halfway, those moments where you're out of your comfort zone, and somehow you sort of push through to be able to really build that connection, whether it's, sharing like the ways that people do in the community, or for example, just that effort to learn that language. I noticed in the chat, right? Well, we were also having that exchange, between Tagalog and Indonesian. I also think another great takeaway is just like the insights, right? Like from the lived experiences, like how much that has sort of informed your worldview on cultures and breaking barriers. So these are like my quick, sharp thoughts.
Thanks, Josh. I'll give the board to Ebony now. Do you have any reflections and insights from our panel discussion?
Yes, I just want to say it was very inspiring listening to everyone. I think I'll just mention a couple of things that like jumped out to me straight away as I was listening. I was gonna say, I know it's already been said through the QR code, but when Toyo was saying about like trying to learn the language, I think that's so important. As someone who's traveled around a lot of the time, I just feel like so awful when I go to a country and I like don't know the language, and it just like I just feel rude, and so I just think it's so important to like make that effort. Like I recently went to the Philippines and May was teaching me little bits of Tagalog, and I like really appreciated that, because I just think that's like to connect with people as well, connect in their way. I think connecting with someone in their way is very, very important. And I also, when we were listening to Mark, when he was like something that just hit really deep was like, oh, you don't want to, like, he was like, I wanted to die like with purpose, and that was just like a crazy thing I've never really thought about. So it's just it was very interesting to hear, and also just interesting to hear everyone's personal experiences of how like their experiences have shaped like to where they are now, and like all the takeaways from that. So it was just but I'm feeling very inspired.
Oh, thank you so much, Ebony, and I couldn't have said it better, honestly. I'm just gonna read out some of the reflections that we're getting in the screen. So something that we have said time and time again, and has Ebony and Toyo mentioned, the effort to learn the local language means a lot, and I could not say it's so important, and as we've said, it really does deepen connection as well, and how deeply you can connect with others. Somebody mentioned they loved Adriana's story, that care goes beyond culture. So, so true. We don't have to be from the same culture or the same community to care. It's a fundamental human being, innate thing that we do. And yeah, so important. Somebody mentioned, really love this conversation. Appreciate you all sharing such personal experiences and reflections. Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate you guys, everyone that's on the panel today, for sharing their stories. Somebody mentioned, completely agree about language. It goes a long way, and especially in Southeast Asia, people are genuinely so pleased, especially white folks, when they make an effort. Yes, for sure. I would say the same for myself. I'm white in spirit, but I look Filipino, and I try my best to immerse myself not just with my looks, but with my language as well. But it's getting there. I can speak konti lang ng Tagalog. I'm trying. All right, and somebody lastly mentioned the importance of learning language, as we said, going out of your way to meet people where they are at, finding common ground through participating in art forms of capoeira regardless of background. So true, so true. Art, and as we said, there's so many different ways that we can connect to each other, even if we don't speak the language, or we are trying to, but there are barriers in place. And we can do that through sport. I know in the Philippines, for example, basketball is a really big thing that we use to connect with people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, etc. And capoeira, again, would be such an amazing way to connect cross-culturally, regardless of background or language understanding. So yeah, amazing, amazing insights. Thank you so, so much. If there's anything else, just feel free to chat in, call in, do whatever you feel called to do so. All right, and maybe I will pop the playlist link in, and we can all continue to make that, because I think it needs a bit more time for reflection. Alrighty. We are almost done with our session, actually, which is so sad to say. Just before we finish up, I wanted to jump back to the questions that we started with, actually. And so we're going back to our little Likert scale. How do you guys feel now? Do you feel confident building friendships across cultures? And something that I want to keep in mind is that this is a starting conversation. We can start here and go anywhere, and continue to learn and grow through cross-cultural friendships. But yeah, let us know how you feel now. Amazing. Oh, I'm glad you guys joined and learned something today. Amazing. I'll give it about 30 more seconds. Awesome. Alrighty, our next question that's just loading is, I feel connected to diaspora communities, and hopefully, especially Toyo and I, hopefully we were able to represent the diaspora community. We are cross-cultural in our identities, which makes it so interesting to be, but yeah. Yay, I'm glad you guys connected with us. Okay. Awesome. All right, and next question, I feel comfortable discussing mental health in multicultural spaces. We had some really cool people who are actually representing multicultural mental health organizations. As we mentioned, Adriana and Erin, who is both of our mentors, is a They co-founded Ruang Teman, which is an Indonesian youth mental health advocacy platform. Hopefully you'll know by now I'm so passionate about mental health as well, and we touched very lightly on this conversation around multicultural mental health, and hopefully we can discuss it more in the future as well. I think it's such an important thing to talk about. But yeah, hopefully you got a little bit of a taste of what the discussions are like in this space. Amazing.
Just thought I'd add to that as well. Just shouting out some other amazing multicultural mental health work. There's
Yes,
a project
go for
called
it.
Reverb, which is done by the Centre for Multicultural Youth, and they're essentially changing the way that a bunch of mental health youth services work out in Nam. So it's exciting and cool work.
Wow. Thanks for the shout out. If there's anything else you guys want to shout out, go for it in the chat, on the live, anything. Thanks, Toyo. And yes, lucky last, after this session, I feel more confident in building cross-cultural friendships. Hopefully that is something that you gain from this conversation. Awesome, guys. All right, I think I have one more question left. Sorry, I said the last one. If you guys are willing to attend or participate in future Next Gen Circle or workshops such as this one. So just for context, PASI is the Philippine Australian Arts and Cultural Institute initiative that Josh and I are part of and are trying to pursue in the Philippines and in Sydney, Australia. And we would love to have you there. As we said, you do not have to be Filipino to join this conversation and this initiative. We are open to cross-cultural collaborations. That's the reason why we're here. Amazing, guys. Oh, we had one more. I'm sorry. Last one. I would recommend today's program to a friend. Hopefully it was a good way to connect, and I learned so much. I appreciate every single one of you's reflections, storytelling, everything. Thank you so much for sharing, and hopefully you can continue to share with your friends and your wider community as well. Amazing. All right, we are almost done actually. So just wanted to give a last shout out to all of our socials, and we loved connecting with you on the live stream and with our guests. I cannot thank you guests enough. Thank you to our panelists, Adriana, Mark, Kuya Jaime, and Toyo, and also to our lovely co-hosts, Ebony and Josh. Thank you so much for being here, and I am so excited for all of the conversations to come. As I said, this can be the first of many. And yeah, if you'd like to stay connected with us, please follow us on social media. I'll just shout out the Are You OK podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify at the moment. So we are giving you episodes every single week. And also we are live on TikTok and Instagram at areyouok.pod. Joshua, do you want to shout out Nara and Pasi?
100%. So we've made it very easy by creating our own link tree. You can scan the QR code. That should access our website. We're also on channels like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you ever want to have a chat, just email us at mabuhay@nara.coop.org. naracoop.org.au. Thank you. And can we get an M for a mic drop? For the speakers, the panelists. Yep. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And just a shout out again to Kuya Jaime and Mark's initiative, Bantu Philippines. They are doing amazing work in Metro Manila, and hopefully I can continue to support you guys and yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing so amazing. Could not be more proud for you guys to be here and sharing your stories. So thank you so much for showing up. And Adriana, Rang Teman, everything that you're doing for mental health and youth advocacy in Indonesia. And Erin as well, keep doing what you're doing. And Toyo, I mean, thanks for being here. You have so much to represent, so I don't even know where to start. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. That is actually the end of our conversation today. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat. If you'd like to stay on call, we will be staying for an extra 5 minutes if you want to chat. If you want to continue putting your reflections in the live stream, feel free to do so. But yes, we are wrapping up for today. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you
Yay.
guys. See you next time.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Of course.
Ingat palagi. Sampai jumpa. Thank you. Until we meet again.
Yes. Thomas, I loved your Tagalog.
Very well done.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Mutual practice.
Seal of approval.
I can't believe how much you learned. Like, now that I'm in your shoes trying to learn Tagalog, I'm like, how did you do that in 6 months? You are
I had a
crazy.
very, very good tutor, and
Oh my gosh.
I think the lesson with learning Tagalog that I found is that, like, my mom is an incredibly clever person and incredibly eloquent in Tagalog, can't teach it for the life of her. And
Yes.
nearly every Tagalog speaker that I know just says, "Oh, but that's the way that it works." They don't. But they
Yes.
can't explain what that means. So I was like, "Oh, I found this incredible tutor," and it turns out the reason she's able to tutor Tagalog so well is because it's not her first language. She had to learn it.
Oh my
There you
Like,
go.
because she's Cebuana, so
Mm.
like having to learn Tagalog, and then she's able to teach it because she knows all of the questions that I'm asking, which is she was great. She was really stellar.
Oh my goodness.
It's not an easy language.
Not
Not
at
it- and
all.
It's not even spoken. I mean, if you read like the old books, like from 100 years ago, it does not. It's like one time I was reading one of them, and I was like, what language is this in? Like, like I was literally like writing down all of the words that I didn't understand, and then like I had like 3 pages of notes, and I'd even ask the kids in the community, well, like, Mark, what does this mean? Nobody knew. So it's I will say that does make it easier though. I suppose because it's becoming more Tagalog's becoming more like Taglish now.
Yes,
honestly.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that's super helpful for me because, like, once I kind of got
Yeah.
a grip on some of the rules, I just got to, like, oh, I just use that rule and apply it to that English verb.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and some of the kids, it's sad in another side. Some of the other kids don't know what the non-English word for the word would be anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's very important to learn when you're young. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Erin just mentioned, I need you two to talk to my daughter, which, not me. I can't do this.
I remember one of the, like, left of field words that I learned is just not really used anymore. It was like I was talking about, like, things I was doing in class, and I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
kasasayan," for history.
Kasaysayan, yeah.
Kasaysayan, but I was told no one says kasaysayan.
No. Or nature, you would say kalikasan, but like nobody says that anymore. Like it's yung
I
nature. Punta tayo sa nature. Let's go to nature. Like, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I'm hoping we see a resurgence. Hopefully, young people are like, wait, this is just gonna turn into English soon if we don't like start pulling back to the, But yeah, I don't know. What are you saying, Mark?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
How do you say that in
And-
Tagalog? How do you say that in Tagalog?
Taos puso akong nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat at yeah, we're more in English here now, like what Jaime is referring. Like we don't usually we always do Taglish here. But
Yeah.
yeah, just wanted to say thank you for listening, and thank you, May, for and to Bonnie.
How hard was that for you doing all of this in English? He was sending me messages like, "Is this gonna be in Taglish?" I was like, "Nope."
Oh,
Yeah, because
I'm
I
so
heard some
sorry.
people like saying like Taglish.
Not even a little
That
bit.
yeah. So yeah, thank you. And if you have time, guys, or you have a friends like coming here in the Philippines, please
Mm.
prepare Bantu like to visit because
Mm.
yeah, it will be more
Yes.
helpful and
Mm.
to connect in the different and let's be more friends to other
Mm.
countries.
Yay!
Gusto ko para sa susunod na biyahe sa Pinas. I'll make sure to get in contact.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. You can
we will
you'll
wait you
definitely
here.
do more Tagalog there.
And Aaron says
Aaron
like,
said, I
Awesome. Yeah,
can't wait to
we'll
visit
you, Aaron.
Bantu
Yeah.
next time.
"Hey."
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can follow you all on socials.
Yeah.
Yes, let's all
We're all
connect. Let's uplift each
connected.
other, especially with all the great initiatives that we're doing. Also, just want to spotlight Adriana, Aaron. We love Indonesia. Like, I
Yeah,
know that there's a lot of similarities with the language. They say that both Bahasa Indonesian and yeah,
Right.
I think
Lots of similar
Tagalog,
words.
right? There's like pasok, masuk,
Yeah.
pinto,
Yeah.
Iwas is one.
I learned a bit of Bahasa Indonesia too during my uni days, and yeah, I found it like easier to pick up because of being able to have a bit of that Tagalog foundation, and I can imagine
Yeah.
if it's been the other way around, Indonesian speakers trying to learn Tagalog, it wouldn't be too hard compared to other languages.
For sure. I just have Abby here actually. She called in. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in.
Dropping in
Sorry.
work and everything, but just wanted to try it out. But just want to say appreciate the presentation and the definitely Mark. Oh, Mark's left. Has Mark left? Just appreciate him being so
Oh,
brave,
Mark.
joining in.
His internet has been cutting out, but it's okay.
Just appreciate the effort of just Jaime said, trying to speak in English the whole time.
Yes, for sure.
But also,
And
I've
we
already
have
stalked.
Erin as
I've already
well.
stalked
Yeah,
everyone
go for it.
on LinkedIn. So if you get an invite
Oh.
from me from LinkedIn, hi Erin.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
So you guys are amazing. That was such a good session. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. And like I just said in the last comment, like so many big hearts in this room, and it just makes my heart sing. So, yes, obviously I'm not Filipino or Indonesian, but my partner, my husband, is Filipino. My daughter is half Filipina, and we live here in Bali, Indonesia. So everything you're talking about today is just so great, so important. There are many differences from what I see. Obviously, I'm an outsider, and I'm always very mindful when I speak in these spaces because I am. But as sort of having that close observation, many similarities between Philippines and Indonesia, but also lots of nuances and differences as well. So to have these, all of my worlds, not that this is about me, but all of my worlds colliding in this way is just so amazing for me. Yeah. So thank you, May, Ebony, and Joshua for making this happen, and for all of you for contributing. Just amazing.
Aw, we love you, Aaron.
Heartful.
Thanks.
Thank you, Erin. All right, I think we might wrap it up here. I would love to keep talking, but I won't keep you guys any more time. But yeah, thank you so much again. Hopefully we can do another one. If you guys liked this, we might do another one, hey?
Yes, please.
Yeah? Okay, I'm getting nods. Oh, and I think Mark is hopefully
He's back?
Hopefully his
Hello.
internet is back. So Abby, do you want to just address him directly? Mark, I think Abby wants to speak to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
just-
hello.
Hello. I just wanted to
Hi.
say you're very brave jumping onto a live panel and very much trying and putting in effort speaking in English. So
Thank you so much for appreciating. But I think you need to thank mostly to Jaime because, he's the one who built me to speak, to, be brave.
I'm the one who didn't
So-
tell this was gonna be in English.
That's crazy. You are crazy for that.
I thought you
So-
would have figured that out.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Mark, I sent you the link, and I don't speak Tagalog.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe.
so yeah, thank you so much again.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna wrap it up now. Hope you
Thanks,
guys
everybody.
have
Okay,
the best
thank you.
afternoon.
See you on our next
Maraming
one.
salamat.
maraming
Salamat.
See you soon. See you all soon.
And thank you,
Okay.
Will.